Welcome to CRJ 151. This week we're taking a look at Chapter 15, which looks at law enforcement, drug courts, and drug treatment. And the objective of the chapter really is to understand the means by which American society attempts to control drug abuse through criminalization and enforcing the law, the so-called war on drugs, and also what alternatives to law enforcement might be productive. Really the latter, such as drug courts and drug treatment, are kind of the cracks or chinks in the drug war. Now, when we look at the past generation or so, we see a sharp discontinuity or a divergence between drug use and then the number of drug arrests and incarcerations. As you've seen in the book, since 1979, drug use in the United States really has declined, but the number of arrests and imprisonment for drug offenses has kind of skyrocketed. Although when we look at this trend, it's really slowed down during the past 5 or 6 years. Now today, over half of all federal prisoners were in prison for a drug crime, and the percentage of state prisoners has tripled, and that number has increased by 10 times. So clearly the United States continues to rely on, even more so than in the past, a really prohibitionist or punitive model in its effort to control illegal drug use. Now, there are two prohibitionist or punitive models that really contend for dominance at the end of this the law enforcement spectrum. The stricter absolute deterrence model, which really has a goal of wiping out or drastically reducing illicit drug abuse, and then there's the moderate or relative deterrence model, which seeks to keep drug-related harms lower than the inevitably high levels of use that would prevail if there were no controls at all. Now, when we look at the absolute deterrence model, the current law enforcement system has been really a catastrophic failure. If we look at it from the deterrence model, then current law enforcement of the drug has been at least partially successful. Now, while drug courts and drug treatment programs have enormously high failure rates, anywhere from 70 to 90%, when we look at them with respect to money spent and money saved, they have been successful. Now, in what most addicts who drop out of a program, the fact that they relapse and return, they eventually get clean along one or more criteria. So drug courts and drug treatment programs are cost effective and do save the society money in the long run. Now, next time we'll look at Chapter 16, which looks at legalization, decriminalization, and harm reduction.